Yeah, welcome to our channel. Don't forget to like, to share, and also to subscribe. In the news, Wike allows her take teacher salaries battle to National Assembly. The Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, has announced plans to collaborate with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, to engage the National Assembly in addressing the lingering issues of unpaid salaries of teachers in government-owned schools, particularly in Abuja. He spoke on Wednesday at the official launch of the National Policy on Non-State Schools in Abuja, an event held in partnership with the British High Commission and the Partnership for Learning for All in Nigeria. In his presentation, Alausa confirmed that both ministers were working to push for a structural solution to the recurring salary crisis in the FCT education system. Getting the teachers back to school is just one part of fixing the problem. We must address the root cause. Unlike other states that have functional state universal basic education boards paying teachers' salaries under the UB initiatives, the FCT still lacks such a structure, he said. Alausa acknowledged that the critical role Wike played behind the scenes is resolving the recent teachers' strike, which led to the return of pupils in early childcare and primary schools to the classroom across the territory. I will work with Wike and we will make a representation to the National Assembly on how the salaries of teachers in the FCT can be funded directly, possibly through a functioning SUBEB, he said. The minister also used the occasion to unveil the new national policy on non-state schools, describing it as a vital component of President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. This policy is a crucial step towards reforming our education sector. By tapping into the potential of non-state schools, we can expand access, enhance quality, and reduce the number of out-of-school children, he stated. The policy set clear guidelines for infrastructure, teacher standards, curriculum delivery, and outlines a framework for public-private collaboration. According to Alausa, a committee was already working on a model that will offer indirect reimbursements to private schools for each out-of-school child successfully reintegrated into the classroom. Our target is to implement this program by the 2025-2026 academic session starting in September, he disclosed. These are the submissions of the Minister for Education, the person of Dr. Tunji Alausa, who announced plans to corroborate with the Minister of Education as regards there's teachers in the FCT, you understand, as regards their lingering issue of unpaid salaries, even in all the teacher or for all the teachers in government-owned schools, particularly in Abuja. I think it's a welcome development because we could remember for over 3 months that the teachers were, on strike in Abuja. And I could also remember that the very dark man had to go and take some students to go and stay in front of the gate of the minister of the FCT then every day for some time. Well, to a large extent, the Minister of Education has come out to, specifically applaud or speak good of the FCT minister, even though it seems as if that matter doesn't really, as it were, so to say, concern him that much. But of course, every box stops at his table, and that's just the reality. Because the Minister of Education made mention of the fact that there are so many behind the scene works that were done by Wiki, which resulted into the teachers returning to the classroom. And that's a good one, a good development, and that is what we want even in democracy. Even behind the curtain you can lobby and make sure that things are in proper perspective, at least that everybody can hear that the teachers are back to school, that students are started with the pupils are started learning again. At least those fear of out of school children that probably Peter Obi will say they are 20 million and later he will say they are 80 million, well, for whatever, some of them are back to school. At least within Abuja, we know, even if not all, for those who have enrolled in school, they have returned to school, and that's a welcome development. But that wasn't the only thing that transpired, because Dr. Tunji Alausa had to disclose this at a particular meeting, a conference that was held, that is an event held in partnership with the British High Commission and the Partnership for Learning for All in Nigeria. So it was during the presentation that the Minister of Education, confirmed that both ministers, they are going to work together to push for a structural solution to the recurring salary crisis in the FCT education system. And she made mention of the fact that other states are doing it well because they have the so-called state SUBEB, that's the Universal Basic Education Board. But for FCT, does not have, and they are thinking of going before the National Assembly, which stands as the only assembly for the Federal Capital Territory, and they could be able to present this case. If there is a SUBEB who used to pay these teachers directly, it will have reduced or removed unnecessary load or stress, even from the neck of the FCT minister or even the minister for education. But then the reality remains that it just have to be done. He said getting the teachers back to school is just one part of fixing the problem. And that's the truth, that they have come to a round table with the teachers and they have agreed and decided to just begin to work again. I think the other side of the coin in the negotiation should be fulfilled, and that is that the government should also, do something important to make sure that owing of salaries of workers does not arise again. It's uncalled for people to be hearing that the teachers in the FCT are not being paid when Nigeria is declaring, in quote now, saving surplus. I mean, giving out surplus to state governors, and unfortunately, nothing is given to the FCT because it's directly under the leadership, the purview and supervision of the federal government. So as a result of that, there is need for them to shout and make that noise at the top of the, so that these politicians and in the legislature and the executive could hear their cry and call and do the needful. I'm happy that the minister said they are going to address the matter from the root. Yes, because if the root cause is not, attended to, they will still go on strike again. You understand? And I think what is being pointed is the fact that they need the Universal Basic Education Board that will be paying the teachers their money directly, like all other states are doing. So they want to present that before the House of Assembly and believing that everything will scale through. So he said he's going to work with Wike, and I want to encourage him to do that so that they made that presentation to the National Assembly, and then the salaries of teachers from FCT and also, other federal government schools can be funded directly, maybe possibly through SUBEB. Don't forget to like, to share, and also to subscribe even onto our channel. Thank you.